Hello everybody, I am hoping that this is right. Tell me if I am sideways for some reason. Let's see who just came in. Jeff, Sydney, Samantha, Dad, tell me if I'm appearing sideways on the screen right now. You can just comment below. For some reason, it's on my iPad tonight, and just want to make sure that everyone can see me and hear me. So if someone will confirm on the bottom. Sideways? All right. Sideways, are we fixed? Fixed? Okay. Cool. Well, welcome to Breckenridge, Colorado. Brody, you can go in and sit inside. Welcome to Breckenridge, Colorado. Right now, I don't know who you're going to get tonight. It will be me, but we also have quite a few people. It is the Strothman family vacation, and you can see, look at my forehead. 72 is a high today, and I got sunburned. So, we've got grandkids running around the house right now. They just got out of the hot tub. We have adults trying to get their kids to bed. So you're going to get a little bit of everything. But tonight I want to start talking about, number one, anything and everything that you would like to talk about. So the best way that these Facebook Lives go are an active discussion in the bottom. I can see all of your comments, and that really helps drive this conversation. And if not, then you get to settle for whatever my family decides to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, that is scary, because I can promise you my sister will pop in, and you just never know what comes out of Jody Green's mouth. Hey, Brenda, thank you. Yeah, catch me from Texas. Good. Let me know if you guys want to talk about anything tonight, Brenda, your brother, and no problem with the words of encouragement. So let's talk a little bit about wellness to start the night, and what wellness means to everyone. To me, wellness can be taken several different ways. When I talk about wellness, the first thing that typically pops up on my mind is physical wellness. And that's something that I have battled. To this day, it still haunts me. I've got kids running and around and waving at me. To this day, it still haunts me when I Google my name and I look at the disturbing picture that I had when I was arrested. I was definitely not well physically, mentally, but physically, I really lost track of who I was and you know, the wellness that I need to take care of myself. And that really starts with exercise. And it doesn't have to be where, you know, I'm going to the gym 7 days a week, or I am, you know, going on a 5-mile run or running in marathons or things of that sort. But it's physical activity of some sort, because that's those endorphins that were released. You know, those are the uppers that really help me when I am trying to battle my depression. So, you know, I needed to be more consistent with that. And the second thing was I was just in a spiral to where I was eating anything and everything. Like what I would try to do, and it was a terrible pattern to fall into, is I would try to really limit the amount that I was eating. But I would limit it so much, and I wouldn't eat periodically throughout the day. It would just continue to be my 3 meals. But I would limit it, and I would go to work, and I would work extremely hard and run around. By the time I got to the meal at night, I was starving. So I didn't care what I was putting in my body. I would put anything and everything into it. And I did that for, oh man, I don't know, just consistently. I probably gained 35 pounds at the peak of my weight, and I'm still trying to take some of that off, but just becoming well. You have to be able to be physically well to be at the top of your game. I know that one thing that brings is that presents your self-confidence. And any of my family that's in there listening right now or talking, feel free to come out and add any part of any. There they come.
Let's talk about weight.
Come on out. We have a few people coming out here. Let me introduce you. Pull up a chair, Pops. We've got 11 people watching this. I still call her Jody Strothman. You've seen her before, Jody Green, and right now. So I'm going to leave the camera on them tonight. But again, the way that we can make this work is if you can communicate with us down below. If you have any thoughts or anything that you do, Samantha, I know that you are extremely big into wellness. So if you want to add anything that you do, but I was talking to them a little bit about physical wellness at this point. And how I still, if you Google my name with my picture that I was arrested, it looked like unphysically well Corey ate physically well Corey. And it really, I mean, it's motivation, but what does that mean to you, physical wellness, either of you guys? What does that mean?
Being in shape, and for me, the biggest thing is, so I struggle with not so much the meals, but from 7 o'clock till when I go to bed, I snack constantly. That's my biggest struggle, is not to snack. And I just struggle with that. I always have to be doing something, so I'm either on my phone or while I'm watching TV, I'm eating. And that's if I can stop that, then I can keep my weight down to where it needs to be, which I haven't got there yet. But that's
doing a pretty good job.
You're doing a great job. You look great, and you're old, so that makes it happy.
60.
Thanks, Jody, for stating the obvious.
60 is the new sexy, is what I've been told. Gosh, that's a loaded question for everyone. Yeah, I think we can all fit.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be a fat joke if we can all fit.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, bud. So, I mean, gosh, I think as a woman, it's not ever like.
Hey, Kendrick, go in and shut the door, okay?
Hey, Kendrick, this is what liveness is all about.
Yeah, live.
It's not how do you deal with your physical appearance. It's like, it's not do you, it's how do you. There's like a spectrum. I think all women engage in some kind of body image issue. And all the women that me as women, I work with college students. I have friends who are a lot older than me, up to 85. And it's a conversation that we can all have. I actually, part of my story was my drug was food, so I was addicted to food for a long time, and so physical wellness was a big deal and a big struggle in all of that. So it still is a thing, but I'd say I've found a lot of, I'm not struggling the same way that I was, but I think everyone, it's just hard to talk about, and it's kind of embarrassing, and it carries a lot of shame and stuff. And we have 4-foot tall munchkins at every window looking at us right now, and it's awesome.
Knocking, sign for their movie, and they want us to go put a movie on.
Like, there are 6 other adults that can do this for you right now. Go find one.
Odds that Tanner's just sitting on the couch doing nothing right now.
High odds.
Very high. Tanner is probably not helping us out. Here comes Mom. So, speaking to what Dad had said about the snacking part, the biggest thing that I still struggle with is I probably go to bed hungry. So it is 60-70% chance that I am waking up at night and going down to find something to eat. Yeah. We're going to have an intermission here. Just introduce these kids before they go down and watch their movie. Tall, a 7-year-old. Your name is?
Brody. I get my own vlog.
Like it, subscribe.
Famously known from his own blog. Right here.
What's your name?
Bennett. That is mine. Bennett, how old are you?
5.
All right, Bennett and Brody. Those are Lauren and my boys. Let's see if we can get down here. In the green shirt. What's your name? Kendrick, who are your parents? Molly and Tanner Strothman. And then we've got one more over here. I can't see.
Tilt it. There you go. What's your name?
Corbin.
How old are you?
3.
And that's my oldest, Jody's oldest.
So that is Corbin Green. All right, guys, I need you guys to stop looking out the window. I need you to go downstairs, watch your movie.
We need
and help us out.
Or find Uncle Tanner.
Uncle Tanner and Aunt Molly will help you.
And Aunt Lauren and Uncle Jeremy and, 1,000 people.
All right, Mom, pull up a chair.
I'm here.
All right, so
sit right here, Mom. I'll stand back.
It's a great opportunity right now for those of you watching. Comments below. We still have 10 people with us. What do you think about wellness? What questions do you have? We're talking about physical wellness at this point.
Okay.
Mom, you should have a lot to add in. You look great at the age of 60.
The new sexy.
60 is the new sexy. So we've all answered. Dad had said one of the things that he works with is from 7 o'clock until going to bed, just the constantly, whether it's a snack or being on his phone. I had mentioned that if I go to bed hungry, then I wake up at night and I go down and I'm eating some sort of food that we have in the cabinet. And Jody had said that in the past that she had dealt with addiction of food of some sort.
Compulsive overeating, for sure.
So what does that mean to you? Physical, being healthy physically.
Well, anybody that's known me very long, especially my family, knows that I am the classic yo-yo dieter. I've recently on the Optavia program lost 40 pounds with a group of friends where I work. I have lost this same 30 to 40 pounds. How many times do you guys think in my last?
Many times.
Many times.
All that matters is it's the last time.
Yeah, that is true. But
and when you get older like us, when you lose a lot of weight, people think you're sick.
Yeah. I've had people, are you all right? I says, yes, I'm doing this on purpose because my joints were giving out, and I honestly want to see my grandkids graduate from high school. So, the physical part for me, it's just always been a constant struggle with taking the weight off, putting it back on, taking it off. And this time it truly wasn't because I was going to try to sport a bikini on the beach anywhere. It was for the just feeling better and being able to stay up past 7 o'clock at night and not fall asleep in my recliner.
Julie, you got a heart.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're going to have to read that for me.
Yeah, it looks like we have Kim Henry saying, Julie, heart, exclamation point.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
She looks great. All right, so you might have the question, like, why would we be talking? Because we've talked a lot about depression. We've talked about mental illness, addiction. Why would we be talking about physical health? Well, I think that it goes hands in hand when we talk about self-confidence and the endorphins that are released when you are healthy, when you're exercising, when you're eating healthy foods instead of taking in more of the fatty foods, the not getting the movement that you need. So that can help with just your mental well-being.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit. Let's shift it and say mentally being healthy. How are you guys mentally healthy? What do you do to make sure that you're meeting the mark being mentally healthy?
Yeah, well, can I add an asterisk to that? I think that part of that eating is tied to our mental health. I think not treating food like this thing that's not a part of that is talking about what is your relationship with food. And that was a question I'd never asked because it's weird, because it's not a person. But that was something in counseling and in my 12-step program that we started to talk about, like, what is your relationship with food? Because for some of us, it's like eat less, move more equals weight loss. But when you were like me and you had a relationship with food, it wasn't about just eating less and moving more. It was about changing the relationship with food in general, because you also get the same dopamine hits from binging that you can from exercising. So it was like this crazy thing, and it was a cycle. And to be totally honest, Fat Bastard wasn't that off when he was like, I eat because I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I eat. And we laugh because it's true.
It is true, and that's with any addiction.
Yes.
And we've talked about it in the blogs when I talked about alcohol addiction. If alcohol or eating, binging, actually will give you a higher spike than a dopamine will of exercising.
Yes.
So
yes.
That's where the danger comes in, is it's telling you that's even better than keeping health the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, Nutter Butters, good, running, bad. That's what you said.
I think the two are tied together also. I mean, if you're physically healthy, you're mentally healthy.
Right.
They're tied together. When you're not physically healthy, you don't feel good about yourself, and you're not as mentally healthy. I mean, it's not everything about mental health, but it's a big part of it. If you're physically healthy, it goes a long ways to keeping your mental health.
And I have a question for Leroy, my father, and Corey, because I know, does it feel harder to talk about as guys? Does it feel harder to talk about physical fitness tied in as men? Because I think maybe there's a little more of a stigma for men to talk about their weight and how they look than it is for women. What do you think?
You actually think it's harder for men to talk about their weight than women to talk about their weight?
Yeah, because women are always talking about their weight, whether it's in a healthy way or not.
Okay.
I don't think men worry about their weight as much as women do, but I also think men being overweight usually laugh it off and make jokes about it. And do it that way instead of admitting they're overweight. they'll joke about it and try to push it off that way, but they don't get as consumed about it as women do.
Well, let's clarify that about women talking about their weight. Women will talk about their weight. They just don't put a number to it. It's that number piece. So when you talk about your weight, we are going to tell you how much we weigh.
Yeah, I'm coming in. I'm not coming in at $165. How about you? Yeah.
$165 was neat in 4th grade. Well, I'm going to throw that out to the audience, though, because I still see we've got more people coming and going. We're talking about being physically fit, and then we've gone to being mentally fit and how they go hand in hand. And Jody asked the question about, do men really struggle about talking their weight? Dad had a great point. A lot of the time as men about anything, really, we turn it into a joke.
Right.
Just kind of deflecting the question. What do you guys think out there? What do you think about whether it's guys addressing a situation of trying to be physically fit? I know when I go to a gym in Kansas City, if I'm a member of a gym at Kansas City, typically when you go in, you've got the guys that go in there all the time that, have muscles upon muscles. I'm not going to want to go grab some 15-pound dumbbells over there next to someone else, It becomes difficult. So, Laverne Strockman, hey, Laverne, thanks for coming in tonight. Appreciate it. But, yeah, I think it's difficult to talk about, but at the same time, it's healthy to talk about.
Yeah.
But there's another part, it kind of ties into the addiction with food. I think, when you are healthy and you have lost weight, you do feel better about yourself, but then there's that fine line that I think sometimes we cross over to where we almost become obsessed with thinking, I put on a pound, I didn't put on a pound, and then we're not getting back to living life. So you have to find that healthy balance. And sometimes in the back of your mind, I even did this. I would say, if I would just lose 25 pounds, everything in my life would be perfect. And it's just one little piece, it is. It's all kind of tied together. How do you...
Does that work?
That does not work. So
that
goes back to the mental health part of it.
Yeah,
so
it does.
I can speak from experience in our relationship. So there's always, okay, if I could only do this, my life would be perfect. And then that happens, and then it's like, well, now my life's not perfect. If I could just do this,
right?
And there's always just one more thing you're reaching for that would make your life perfect. And nobody's life is perfect, and you should just live it like it is, and not worry about if only.
Right.
Because that just pulls you down, and you're always upset or worried or concerned about something in your life when most things are out of your control, and
I think you just gave me that speech on the deck the other night, didn't you? Yeah, well, yeah, several times.
All right, Mandy Dieter's coming in. Jody, can you read that for me?
Yeah, she said, I tend to think that men don't worry about this stuff like women do and don't have the same kind of pressure on them. Well, to be perfect, which is true, but I often wonder if that's a misconception. Oh gosh, Mindy, I would tell you Mandy, sorry. I got 38-year-old eyes, but I think that's a really great observation. I think that is right on point. I mean, I see it in college-age guys who get just obsessed about going to the gym and get just obsessed, and I think that's what we're kind of hitting on all angles is there's only a few things in life that are actually good to be obsessed with, and a lot that aren't. And so obsessed with weighing too much, obsessed with weighing too little, obsessed with the size, with the number, with the scale, with a plan, with all of these things. And I think there's a lot of pressure on men now, more and more. I mean, all the makeup lines that are coming out for men, the skincare for men, like men have skin too. I think that's the new, it's really funny commercials by the one body wash, Old Spice. So, hey Cindy,
hi Cindy.
So I think that you're right, Mandy. I think that there is just as much pressure on men, especially if you're raising young men right now, that maybe we didn't experience a couple of generations ago.
I think the biggest thing to think of is because I struggled with addiction to alcohol. I think you can be addicted to more than just drugs.
Yes.
And I was addicted. I struggled with alcohol, but I have an addictive personality. And there's been times in my life where I've gone through treating exercise like that was my addiction, is going out and exercising. That's what I had to do. It could be then turning it to work. That's what my addiction was, going through work. I want to latch onto something and I want to just go. I can't find the balance and really find where you need to draw the line of what's healthy and not healthy. And that's what we're trying to talk about here with all of these things combined is there is a fine line and there is a balance on all of this stuff. I love, I've learned it from Jody. Mom's talked about it a little bit too. I love with weight, I don't get on the scale very much. I judge by how my clothes feel. I judge by how I feel, physically, whether I feel like I have more energy. And that number on the scale, as long as, it doesn't balloon up every 2 weeks when I get on it, then I'm okay with that. And I don't worry, because my weight could fluctuate from 5 pounds within a week. And I don't want to start feeling down about myself when, in reality, it's the time of day or it's the moment of the day that I step on that scale.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's why I haven't had a scale in my house for the last 8 years, is because as someone who had not a healthy relationship with food, if I got on the scale and it was a number lower than I expected, then I celebrated by eating. So, it's okay, I'm doing good, so I can afford to eat a little extra. Right. And if it was higher than I wanted, it made me feel depressed and anxious, and so to avoid those feelings, then I would, eat something. And so there was never a positive outcome from doing it. So that's what led me to say, no scales in my house. Right. So I don't know if anybody out there has a similar relationship with a scale, and they can be helpful, and I don't think using a scale is a bad thing. For me, though, there wasn't any positive stuff. It's always what works best for you.
Right. But all of these things that we're talking about, again, is just trying to find the balance in life that helps you. And they're all topics that are not easy. That's why there's so much difficulty in the world. And what everyone needs is they need a safe place to be able to talk to these. So you need to figure out what is your safe place that you're looking for. Is it your parents, your sibling? Is it your brother who's sitting in on the couch watching TV? I don't know what that is, but people, in reality, people need a safe place. And I'm going to do and release a story on suicide here in the next 3 days or so. And when you want to talk about having a safe place, suicide is a topic that we go over and we just glance over, and no one wants to talk about it if it is suicide. And it is becoming a massive problem in society. And all of these things we need to be able to address. So that's what you need to ask yourself is, how can I talk about these things without shutting down? How can I talk to them without turning them into a joke? Because that will lead to the next one I'm talking about. So we've talked about 2 things, physically fit and mentally fit. But one that I don't think people probably talk enough about is spiritually fit. I can't talk. Spiritually fit. Spiritually fit. And how do you guys hit that mark? Because without that one, you find yourself dragging big time. How do you? Because I didn't hit that mark very often, and now that I am, I feel like I'm hitting the other 2 much easier.
So that's a good one, Tori. And so your mother and I obviously go through bouts with that. So we have prayers in the morning before we go to work. We find that we have to do those things together. To be honest with you, this is probably may not be a really popular thing to say, but we're in the Catholic Church, and through there we have a series of priests that are hard to understand, and it's really hard to get out of Mass what we need to. And so we get the most out of what we can by going, but we also have to spend a lot more time with each other and praying by ourselves and separately outside of the church, and not just make it an every Sunday event.
So let me ask you guys this, because I've struggled with this a long time. Do you have to be in church on Sunday to be spiritually fit?
Oh, that's a question.
Oh, that's loaded.
I'm throwing that out to everyone out there. Not just my parents. I'm not just asking for a pass on the Sundays I miss. I want anyone to tell me that. Because I'll be honest, that's something that when I was going through my depression and started to lean into alcohol abuse, that is what I told myself is, you know what? I'm helping people Monday through Saturday. Why does my tail need to be in a pew on Sunday to make me a person that's closer to God? And it was really an excuse for myself, because I wasn't there connecting with people. It's connection, too. It's connection with God. It's connection with your community and your family. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you have to be at church on Sunday to be spiritually fit? And if not, explain that to me. And now I'm coming back to you guys, because I gave you a little bit of time to think about that bomb.
I think there's a lot of people who are in church every Sunday that maybe not as spiritually fit as they should be, because it's like a chore to them. It's something I do every Sunday for that hour. And there's other people that don't go as often that may be much more spiritually committed, because when they go, they're very committed, and they're very committed outside of Sunday through the rest of the week. So that's a great question. It depends on your philosophy and your current religion.
I do have thoughts about that, but my son's trying to jump over a banister right now.
Go, bring it down.
I
Arlene Henry's chiming in. She says no, you don't necessarily, and I agree 100% with what Dad said. I would say there's people that probably hardly ever go to church that are more spiritually fit than people that go every Sunday. It's not just about being in the seat. Mom, I know you want to talk about that.
That's a loaded question. I didn't know that was going to be on the
That's a great thing about live video. Is you don't know what's coming up.
I
Go
don't
get
know
us
what you know, for me and for a lot of people, I don't think there's an answer to that, because I personally love the Catholic Church, and I know you do too, but I get my part of me being spiritually fit is being part of that community. So it's not just, going in and participating in Mass and listening to the scripture, but it's visiting with people after church, when you go outside of church, those people that you just worship, with. So that, to me, is where part of my being physically fit or spiritually fit. And the other part is, as Leroy was saying, honestly, our prayers, where we said prayers in the morning, that didn't happen when we were your age.
Yeah.
That is something your spiritual journey is something that is always evolving and always changing. And it has highs and lows where you're at, where you're struggling with it. And when Corey went through, had his crisis, when Tanner had cancer, I would say those crisis situations in our life is what caused our spiritual prayer life together as a couple.
Well, we took it up a notch at that point.
We did, because we needed help, and we couldn't do it alone, and we knew God was the only place we were going to get that help. But that's my take on it. But it's different for everybody.
It is different, and my comments weren't meant to be against the Catholic Church, because I'm completely behind their belief, and Sunday Mass is something I look forward to, and like you said, not just the Mass, but to visit with people and that part of it as well. So, but it is difficult, because being able to understand what's going on at times is a struggle.
Same question, Jody. You're still here.
I am still here. I don't know what I missed. I think that anything we do, I think the motives of the intentions behind what we do matter more than what we actually do. And I think Dad hit on that. Like, there's a lot of people who go to church on Sunday. I think there is sometimes discipline precedes desire, and sometimes it's the other way around. It's like, I'll go when I feel like it. So that ties into everything we're talking about: exercise, eating healthy, repairing relationships, all of that, showing up in parenting. Like, I'll do it when I feel like it. If we're waiting for the discipline to come when we feel like it, that's just not how the human condition really operates. So if you're waiting for your discipline to come when the desire is there, I think and have experienced that my desire follows my discipline. So I choose to start doing something, and the desire then kind of wells up inside of me. Going to church, this is the problem though. A lot of people going to church to check a box and to keep a front up, and I think that's everything that Corey's trying to do here with Grace in Your Corner, is take the fronts down. So if you're going to church to just keep a persona going, but inside your heart is far from God, your heart is far from the things that faith brings, because faith means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Right. And I think, and when I was referencing earlier, I think faith is the one thing we can, and a God who loves you is the one thing you can obsess about that is good for you. It's the only thing that you can be a slave to that loves you. Everything else that you're a slave to destroys you. So that's been my experience and what I think is true. So going to church just to convince yourself and other people that you're spiritual doesn't lead to anything spiritual in life. It doesn't lead to transformation, and that's what we want to see, is transformation. Corey wants to see his life transformed, and he's seeing that. And so that's the purpose of faith, is getting outside of ourselves. So if going to church, I could also go to a yogurt store every Thursday and pretend I'm a cow.
As I mentioned before anyone got out here, you don't know what's coming out of Jody Green's mouth. She'll keep you on your toes. I want to throw it out to the people that are out there right now, though. Anything...
I think Ariana said no. She was on
Arlene said it, yeah.
Sorry.
Arlene said that. No,
You need glasses. It's her birthday
I can
tomorrow.
barely
You
read
can-
that,
yeah.
too. But
Yeah,
Arlene, thank you.
anything that we've talked about at this point, or we're going to take it a different direction if you want to. Anything you want to talk about right now.
Or
It works
questions.
better, or questions. You're not always going to have my family members, my sister, and if you have a question for Tanner, for my wife, Lauren, I will come pull them out there. They will come. So really take advantage of this time. I'm excited to have more than one person with me doing this live because it's easier on me than just talking and talking and talking, and it becomes easier on all four of us in my family when it's a two-way conversation, even though you're behind a keyboard and talking. If there's anything on your mind right now in any facet of life, please feel free to type it below. We might not have the answer, but we can provide our experience, our opinions of that. So feel free to do that. Other than that, what do you guys have?
I think a follow-up to the church thing, Corey, too, goes back to some of your earlier vlogs, and that's about judging people. So the fact that some people go to church and aren't really strong spiritually, and others that don't are, we shouldn't judge those that aren't in church and assume that they are not spiritual people. So, I mean, we found that out through this journey, is you never know what is behind the scenes and what the rest of the story is, and we should never jump to conclusion and judge people without knowing their situation and all the facts.
All the facts is key. And again, I'm going to reference the piece on suicide that I have that's coming out as soon as, hopefully, I mean, maybe tonight, I don't know, but it comes back to that judgment piece of you don't know what's going on under someone else's skin. And a piece, or something that I typed in there is, it might be that someone is yelling at a cash register at Walmart. It might be that someone's giving you the bird at a red light. It might be that someone is wearing an outfit that you would never wear. But the one thing you might not know is the grace that you give them might be the one thing that saves their life. This person could be on the last reason of why they feel in their mind that they deserve to live. Now, that's a dramatic example, but all the same, it is a true life example. And that can go for anything. When I was in my low of lows, when people would come up and talk to me and give me genuine, authentic compliments, instead of just, you know, nice job, or if a genuine conversation, it meant a lot to me, and my days became better. But judgment can really ruin a person, so we have to be careful with that. Dad, that's a great point.
Yeah. I get to work with a lot of, part of my job is to work with people who could give a rip less about faith, and invite them in to consider what a relationship and some kind of faith would look like. And most of the time, people have said no to faith because of people in the church. Because they've had an experience, they've been judged, they've felt like they're less than, it's been comments, it's been looks, and that's true. And I've been guilty of it, and I've experienced it, and it's all of the things that we can do. And that's what a relationship with God has helped me see how you're doing it too. And also, when you're okay with who you are, you become a lot less judgmental. When you're not trying to please people. Oh my gosh, another addiction, people pleasing. Okay, yeah, right. She's on some meds probably. And I love medication. So people pleasing, performance, like when you care so much about what other people think, then you're going to be more judgmental. And I just found the more and more that I'm okay with me, then I'm way more okay with other people. I don't have to control as much. I don't have to control what they think about me. But I'm 38, so I'm younger than some and older than others. And that's just a journey, but that faith has been being spiritually fit has been a part of that.
Yeah, so I would like to say everyone in here has been very successful in what they've done in the business world to this point in life. And like Jody said, I've been on both parts of the judgment side. When my story was released, all the negative judgment, man, there was a lot of it. But I was also given the grace of judgment. They just saw the title of my position as a principal, and they just assumed the best in me. And it just blows my mind, because I could say something that 4 other teachers or a paraprofessional or a parent said, and it would go in one ear and out the other. But because I had a label to my name that someone respected, and they didn't even know me, then that judgment would be, wow, this guy is really smart. So I've received both ways of it, and I just think that you have to think about and really understand the entire situation and try to understand and learn more about the person, rather than trying to come to judgments based on labels or stigmas, or like we're trying to pull down all the stigmas in society here.
why do we do it?
People please. I think we think that's how we advance in life. At sometimes, I mean, trying to please Dad. You were, I mean, you still are. You've managed many people in your day. Why do you think that we have that perception in society?
Everybody they want to be accepted. They want to be. It starts in school. I mean, when you're in grade school, you want to be with the cool kids. You want to hang out with the cool crowd. And that just carries through in life, and you want to be one of those cool people, and you want to be somebody that everybody likes. You want to be the life of the party, and the people like to gather around, and so people just please everybody.
To.
Yeah.
And that gets you nowhere in life, because then what you do is you become a person that is undefined. And that is not what God created.